Howdy folks, Eric here, back with another standard brew. Today playing Mechan Soup, going to be bringing this into 3 ranked matches. Super grindy ramp list built around Survey Mechan. This is a 4 mana flying hexproof 1/3. For 10 mana you can sacrifice it to Lightning Helix any target and then draw 3 cards. But that cost is reduced by the number of unique lands you control. So if you control all unique lands and have 10 of them, it becomes free to sacrifice. This is an evolution of the Teamer Towns list that I played recently, cutting out the poo-poo UFOs and the towns and all that, and just streamlining, getting to 10 mana as quickly as possible, and trying to set up this chain of Mechan activations to eventually kill your opponent. This is also a Soul-Cauldron list, hence the soup in the name. If you exile the Mechan under the Cauldron, all of your creatures with counters get that ability to sack for free and Lightning Helix your opponent, draw 3. Or your opponent's creature. Sometimes it's pretty relevant to just use it as removal. Another key part about this, like, ideally, if we have everything going perfectly, we have a Toph on the field in the late game as well, which just says whenever you cast a spell, Earthbend 1, this very quickly becomes a lethal setup if you have the Mechan under the Cauldron, giving your lands the ability to sacrifice and Lightning Helix your opponent, so on and so forth. Otherwise, very streamlined to, like, get as much lands on the field as possible, as many lands on the field as quickly as possible. A playset of Insidious Fungus, a playset of Clifftop Lookout. Shout out to Vincent Drake for the recommendation in my comments on my Teamer Towns video. These cards really help you just, assuming you're not particularly interacted with, present your proactive plan as quickly as possible. Get up to 3 mana quickly, get up to 4 mana quickly, get an Ice-Till Explorer online, and then go from there. We also have a playset of Lessons from Life to be able to do the same. Draw 3, put a land from your hand on the battlefield tapped. And then some one-of fun-ofs here, including a Loot the Pathfinder as a backup Cauldron target that doesn't force you to draw, to be able to, like, it. Not only is it generally a very strong Cauldron target, but one of the issues with the Survey Mechan plan is you do kind of have to draw 3, which can lead you to decking yourself. You can also force your opponent to draw 3, but you'd really have to have a lot of resources to be able to, like, make that a viable win con, I think. Instead, we can just, like, exile the loot if we have all the resources to do so, and then just bolt our opponents. Playset of Dredger's Insight here to set everything up. Can grab the Cauldron, can grab our critical creatures, and just puts lands in the graveyard for Ice-Till. A One of Auroral Procession. This is a nice toolbox card. Pick up our Toph in the late game. Or pick up a Soul-Cauldron that we milled over and didn't pick up earlier, so on and so forth. 25 lands, I think, quite a lot of utility. 1 Bossing Say, 3 man lands. And then, as for the sideboard, we are mostly a teamer deck, but in the sideboard, you can see that we have a lot of white lands in the mana base as well, to be able to support a playset of Day of Judgment and some Seam Rips. So we have a lot of good main deck graveyard hate just by being on a playset of Soul-Cauldrons, right? But we really, like, falter against aggressive creature decks, hence the board wipes. And then Seam Rips can answer Rest in Peace, Wear Down for Is It Lessons. Pretty nice list. Super grindy. It's been a lot more powerful than I expected. I played this in a traditional standard event on stream yesterday and went 4-1 with it. It's super grindy. The matches take forever, but You do win eventually. It's got a super strong top end. And if you're interested in checking that out, check my stream replay. It's like the second half of the stream. You can find 4 of the matches. I did have to leave early, but finished out that run this morning and ended 4-1. So we'll see if I can win on the ladder here today. Show it off a little bit at the very least. All right, starting out on the draw. Opponent mulligans to 6. I think I'm going to keep this. Pretty likely that we managed to hit 4 mana for our Lessons from Life off of the Molt Tender plus Dredger's Insight combination here. Opponent leads on an Elegant Parlor. Well, if this is Jeskai control, this deck actually has been looking pretty good against control, TBH. Weirdly enough, it's just a matter of, like, main deck we have so little interaction that we're kind of paid off for that, of just like, okay, well, you kind of have to answer everything that we're doing eventually. Seems to work out pretty nicely. The utility from our man lands, so on and so forth. I guess I just pick up the Ice-Till here It's a pretty real threat. I have my third land drop in hand. Yeah, I guess I'll pick up the Ice Till. Surely they have to counter it. Exile a forest here. Get another Molt Tender on the field. I can't really use the Molt Tenders to play the Ice Till, I guess, because I'm then exiling the lands here, but I can just delay this. I can play a Restless Ridgeline and just plan to start milling. So we'll go for another Dredger's Insight here. I guess it gave him a little information, playing the Insight first, but, playing my land drop first, but that's okay. Let's grab another Ice Till. More action for them to have to eventually counter. Start gaining quite a lot of life off the Dredger's Insight. This adds up very quickly, especially with the Agatha's Soul-Cauldron exiling creatures from our graveyard and the Molt Tenders exiling stuff from our graveyard. So this is kind of our tool to be able to survive in the long game. Not too uncommon seeing us get to up to like 30 life just off of the Dredger's Insights. So we can't be just like straight up burned out by our Jeskai control opponent. Start milling some cards here. I think we want to draw an untapped land to be able to maybe... okay, Clifftop Lookout. I think I'm going to go for this. They may eventually Day of Judgment me, but are they going to counter this? Kind of doubt it. And we can play around No More Lies pretty well eventually, is another sort of key thing here, with all the extra ramp we get. Thornwood Falls on the field. Okay. Continue to pass here. Actually, I could just start hitting them. They could have like a Wan Shi Tong to flash in. I guess I'll pass. This could just be like consult the star charts kicked. There's the star charts. Okay. I think ideal draw, untapped land, but I'll just rip a Lessons from Life at this point. Feed it into the No More Lies. Northwind Avatar. Okay. Well, they're tapping out. That's kind of a good sign. Curious to know what they're grabbing here. Mill some cards. Cauldron in the graveyard. Go for an Ice Till. Let's shock in a Hollowed Fountain. See if we hit another untapped land here. No. Go for a Lookout. Start just exiling some creatures here for a little extra life. Exile a Lookout. Exile the Cauldron also counts as exiling for the Dredger's Insight, creature or artifact. Mill a Bossing Say. Let's grab the Bossing Say. I don't have a basic. I guess I'm going to grab the Vinestalk. It's possible that I eventually hit a basic and that Bossing Say can come in untapped. I think that's worth playing toward. Not sure what my opponent grabbed here, but we have a lot of mana online now. No Mechans in the graveyard. There's a Rest in Peace. So presumably they grabbed that from the sideboard. That's okay. We can beat a Rest in Peace. Gain a little life. We have those 4 main deck Insidious Fungus now. Ill-Timed Explosion. Do you have a 4-drop to discard for the perfect wipe here? No. But you're killing off my dinguses. Okay. Fair enough. You might as well hit me. Does not hit me. I guess I get to play Loot and swing it if I want. If they block with the Avatar, I get to bolt it. But then do they just Day of Judgment me? Maybe I just start ripping these Lessons from Life while they're tapped out. Decline to put this in tapped. Shock myself. Mill a card. Drew a Fungus. I kind of feel like maybe I should just go for this now. Simplifies the game a little bit. If I, like... Not getting this countered is kind of the important thing with the context of this hand, I think. Graveyard back online. Pass it back. Opponent looking like they're about to reach critical 7 mana. Stock up. That's fine. Tapping out a little bit here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lands. 4 mana available for my opponent. Draw an island. Okay. Let's start ripping these. It's a good card in this matchup. There's our Storm Soul. There's the Storm Soul. Let's not put this in tapped. 1 land. Let's play untapped here. Mill into another land. Okay. Mill first and then surveil. Another land in the graveyard. Clifftop Lookout on top. We can put that in the graveyard. We only have 19 cards in our deck now. Which means we kind of have to maybe play towards Scouring Storm Soul as a win con, so we can't afford to run it out now in case they have no more lies. So let's just play a Cauldron here. 3 mana up. And then try to set up this late game board where we land a Storm Soul, and it becomes a big pain in the ass for them. I'd kind of like maybe for them to kill my Ice Still at this point. The self-mill is starting to add up a little bit, but we should be okay. 2 main lands on the field. No Bossing Say. Bossing Say, unfortunately, gone forever. They 3 steps ahead. Oh, they 3 steps ahead the Cauldron, which means I can actually land this Storm Soul now, which is kind of big game. 10-10. Pretty hard for them to deal with. Very resilient. If they have, like, exile-based removal, that's good for them, but they might not. I'm not seeing black, so probably no inevitable defeat. And then we do have a Mechan in hand, which 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 just reads 4 mana, draw 3, drain 3, basically. Storm Soul in the graveyard. Shocks themselves. Okay. I think I'm playing Loot this turn, and then planning to reanimate the Storm Soul here. I only have the 1 land in my graveyard, so I need to save that for the Storm Soul activation. But I can play and swing with Loot. See if they have another No More Lies, or sorry, another 3 steps ahead. It's just bomb after bomb at this point. Alright. Swing on in. I'll swing with the Ice Tail as well. I think the Ice Tail has kind of run its course here. Let's put the first strike damage on the Avatar here and go for the Bolt. Now we don't have the mana to bring back the Storm Soul, but I could mill into it perhaps. Get Lost on the Loot. A little late for that, my friend. They take 2 here. Maybe we take this opportunity to resolve a Mechan. They only have 1 mana available. Let's see if I just mill into another land off of this. Adventurer's Inn. Okay. Let's play a Mechan and then start cracking maps on the Mechan. It does have hexproof, which is pretty interesting. I may not need to. Another Mechan on top. Okay. Well, this is 9 damage to the face currently, spread across these 3 Mechans. It is drawing 9 cards, which we don't necessarily want to do at this point, but should be able to find a window. Ultima. Okay. Fair enough. Sack the Mechan. Bolt you in the face. Ice Till gone, which is kind of okay. One thing we can do here now is, like, play another Mechan and discard to hand size to get lands in the graveyard for the Storm Soul. I think that makes sense to me here. And then play towards setting up, like, a big swing with man lands and whatnot. If they counter this, I'm feeling pretty good, actually. If this is just like another 3 steps. Because then they're just left with 2 cards in hand and no clear way to win the game. Bolt you in the face. Oh, Lightning Helix, I guess. Pit of Offerings. Any chance that that's relevant? Could be. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Play a Mountain. 9 cards in hand. Let's play a Fungus. 8 cards in hand. We'll discard this Pit of Offerings to hand size, and then we can use it to flash in essentially this Storm Soul at instant speed. If they have like a Shiko in their hand or something, I can manage their graveyard at instant speed that way. 3 steps ahead. Discard the Pit. Pass it to ya. They pass it to me. Okay, well, they could have a Jeskai Revelation, I suppose. Bring back the Storm Soul here. Uncounterable. Pretty key in this matchup. They could Tidebinder it. Not super likely they have Tidebinder in their deck, but possibility. The Exile and No More Lies, pretty useless at this point. Feels like we got the dub. At least game 1 here. Pit of Offerings. Let's clean up their stock ups. And a 3 steps ahead, I guess. Doesn't really matter at that point. And then I'm just going to go all in. I mean, they only have 4 mana available. It's time to fire up the man lands and close this one out. Draw another Survey Mechan. And they scoop it up. Great. All right. Pretty clean game 1. Not too long. Moving to game 2. I don't think we really bring anything in for this matchup. I think we're like pretty well set up for this matchup in the first place. You could maybe make an argument for like Seam Rip, because they could bring in Wanchitong, which is a bit of a pain. We're not really searching our library, but it's big and it could kill us eventually. And but outside of that, we have the Funguses for Rest in Peace. Rest in Peace doesn't really shut us down anyway. It is good. It shuts down the Cauldron, obviously. It shuts down the Ice Tails, obviously. But it doesn't stop us from doing the Mechan thing, which eventually lets us draw into our answers for Rest in Peace, you know? And we can also, as you saw, just kill our opponents with our creatures and man lands and stuff like that. All right. On the draw, decent hand. I mean, I don't think there's a reason to mulligan this. We have our green mana. And a lot of ways to find more lands. It would be kind of annoying if they started countering my Dredger's Insights, actually, but people don't typically counter the Dredger's Insight. Okay. Well, we drew another untapped land, so feeling pretty okay then. Riverpire Verge, Insidious Fungus. Let's just play our Clifftop Lookout here. Always hits a land, which is just so nice. Plays really nicely as a 3 mana source of ramp that doesn't require you to be on basics. Like a lot of this kind of effect requires you to be on basics to a certain extent. Draw Blossoming Sands. Okay, I'm just gonna start swinging in. Let's go for a Dredger's Insight. They could counter this, I suppose. But they've already spent 1 No More Lies. If they want to keep fighting me over these, that's probably okay for me in the long run. 3 steps ahead. Yo, okay. I'm going to wait on the Cauldron here. It's possible that they just go for like an Ultima setup. So I'm just going to play a Molt Tender instead and probably just keep hitting them. I don't have anything to Cauldron anyway. Makes sense for me to get the Mechan in the graveyard first, I think. Northwind Avatar. Okay. Another Mechan. They're eyeing my Restless Vinestock. Yeah, maybe I do start swinging with that. Although they probably take that trade, no? Kind of an awkward spot. Double Mechan draw. If I play it and they wipe the board, then they're feeling pretty good, I think. I think I maybe just play a Fungus and pass. I can cycle the Fungus. If they play a Rest in Peace, I can kill it. That's like fine into anything that they do here, but this Northwind Avatar, if they start hitting me with it, I'm actually kind of scared. Yeah, they should definitely be swinging. There's no reason for them not to swing. All right. Draw lessons from life. I'm gonna pass it back. Let's play around No More Lies here. I could start milling with the Molt Tender. I probably should do that. I missed one, but that's okay. We can start doing it this turn. There's the Northwind Avatar. Swinging in. Okay. Go to 16. Do a mill. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A mana available for my opponent here. Could be a Jeskai Rev. Swing with these two. Well, I guess we're here to rip. Let's rip. There's the Jeskai Rev. I guess we'll just mill here. Yeah, at this point, I feel like missing our land drops over the course of a couple turns there is going to be a problem for us. Stock up. We can probably just scoop this one up. Move into the next one. Running into like double Mechan this early with only five unique lands on the field. Not the best spot to be in. No blocks. Can we draw out of this one? Lift Top Lookout. I guess we go for that. We can block an Avatar. Start going to chump mode for a little bit. They can't No More Lies this. 3 steps ahead. Really? Okay. Little draw discard for them. Play a Cauldron here. Pass it back. I can do a sneaky Fungus sack if I want to, where I like exile a Molt Tender under the Cauldron, put the counter on the Fungus here. Get lost on the Clifftop Lookout. Okay. And then maybe they have a Lightning Helix. Okay, well, GG. On to game 3. I still think this is a pretty good matchup. Let's see how we perform on the play again here. Or on the play. Did we start on the draw? I think so. Let's see how we perform on the play here. Game 3, on the play. Pretty good hand here. Double Molt Tendies to start milling. Into an Ice Till. Blood Farm Verge. Authority of the Consuls. Why? What does that have to do with anything? What's that about? Authority of the Consuls. Don't attack. What's the Authority of the Consuls about? I'm not like attacking with hasty creatures. They just want the extra life gain, maybe? Huh. Mill a land, that's nice. So we actually have a window to get... I mean, I guess it could be a split-up angle for our opponent. Could be a split-up angle. Let's go for the Lessons from Life here. I don't really want to exile this land, so let's start by milling a card. Okay. See if they have a Spell Pierce. No Spell Pierce, huge. Put an Urban Retreat into play. Okay, feeling pretty good. Now we can play around No more lies when we go to cast this. Explorer almost? We're close. Feels like they don't have it though. Like they would have done it. Okay, now we can play around the no more lies. So let's go for the Explorer here. They could wipe the board, but I'm not feeling too bad about that. TBH. Make our land drop out of the graveyard here. Pretty much only need green mana at this point. Maybe blue. Let's go for green though. Hollowed Fountain. I feel like I might as well play the Cauldron here. They're not going to be ultimating me anytime soon, and this could set up for a fast Mechan situation if they just don't have anything. Extra Ice Till in hand is pretty nice if they wipe the board. We're kind of all in. I wouldn't mind drawing a Mechan or another Lessons from Life at this point just to keep the card advantage engine situation going. Land. Ill-timed Explosion. See what they discard. Discard an Ill-timed Explosion. Okay. So we mill a card. Hope we hit a creature here. No creature, no creature. So we can't save our Ice Till Explorer, unfortunately. But we'll be able to save future Ice Tills. Play another Ice Till. Resolve. Start milling. Put this one in tapped. We'll shock in the Steam Vents, though, to be able to play out this Fungus. Actually, I'd rather have a Temple Garden, I think. Play out the Fungus here. Pass it back. Could be an Ultima angle for our opponent. See if they play around our negate. Northwind Avatar. Okay, nice. That's fine. So we're kind of popping off. We have a nice little window here where if we hit off of our next draw, we're feeling really good. I think I'm going to pop the Fungus then. So let's pop the Fungus. Sacrifice to draw a card, put a land from our hand on the battlefield tapped. Dredger's Insight's a great hit. Do a mill. See if we mill into anything relevant here. Ooh, mill over a Lessons from Life. But we get to exile the Fungus off of the Cauldron here. Give that ability to the Ice Till to keep going if we want. Let's go for the Dredger's Insight. Trying to hit a Mechan at this point. Another Fungus. I think we take the Fungus here. It's a little more flexible. Let's mill. Mill. Play a Lookout. Pit of Offerings, okay. Just exile your shit, I guess. Play another... Ooh, there's the Mechan. Okay, there's a Mechan. So, we exile the Mechan. We throw the frog at your face, I think. Draw another 2 Dredger's Insight. Okay, well that's nice. I think what I want to do then is just play a Fungus and pass. To play around Rest in Peace plus Counterspell. They could Ultima this board, but I'm kind of doing okay in that situation anyway. I can sack the Explorer and my Fungus. And then I can rebuild my graveyard with the Dredger's Insight, try to find another Soul-Cauldron. I think this is okay. Let's hold on the Molt Tender for now as well. A lot of options here, but I think just passing here is fine. Big mana on the field. Shocks in a Steam Vent, 6 mana. Get lost on the Ice Till. So we shoot you in the face. We don't need your maps. Draw into another Mechan, draw into a Toph, importantly. So Toph lets us kind of do the thing where we just kind of kill them. Draw an island. Do they have counter magic? I'm going to go for the Mechan and see if they counter this. Because if they don't counter this, okay. Maybe they just don't have counter magic. Let's go for the Toph then. Do we have any instances? We can pick up a Lessons from Life. That's huge. See if they care. 4 mana. It could just be no more Lies in hand. Pick up a Lesson from Life. 22 cards in our deck, but they're at 20. So theoretically, if we manage to combo off this turn, we can kill them without decking ourselves. Although it'll involve casting these Dredger's Insights. Maybe I try to mill into a loot. A loot with which I can Cauldron. Target the Restless Prairie here. Do a little more milling. Grab a Clifftop Lookout. More lands is more good. I'm essentially going to straight up tap out here, I think. Cast another spell. Let's target the Pit of Offerings this time. Could be relevant to get its ETB again. Okay. Now we pass. Because we can kind of do everything else at instant speed. Pass here, and then almost guaranteed kill them next turn. Because we can get a big go wide swing in with our Earthbent lands plus the Restless Prairie trigger before like going for lethal. So we don't actually have to do a full 21 with just the burn element. They could do an Ultima here, but then they're like tapping out and I get to draw a million cards. They have 42 cards in their deck, so forcing them to draw is not really the angle here. Okay, grindy ass deck. Jeskai Revelation. I can fully counter the Jeskai Rev if I want. I could start throwing my... Wait, what are they doing here? Presumably they're bouncing the Pit of Offerings, right? Is there any way I can... Okay, they're bouncing the Pit of Offerings and dealing 4 damage to Toph. So I just put a counter on Toph here, right? And then bolt their face. Exile and Ice Till, fine. Gain a little life. They're going to gain a little life here, but they're fully tapped out, and I have a Toph on the field, with which I'm just going to present a huge army to attack with. And then that army can also just sacrifice itself to burn their face. So I think this is it. Bossing Say. So we go... Play a Fungus. Earthbend the Adventurers in. They gain a little life. Is there any way to speed this up? Play a Fungus. Earthbend an Island. They gain a little life. Play a Tender. Earthbend the Pit of Offerings. They gain a little life. Okay, and then I guess we play a Dredger's Insight, because if I hit a loot at this point, that's actually probably just faster. Earthbend the Mutant Town. We'll take up Mechan in hand. Gain some life. Okay. Swing on out. Pretty big hit here. I'm kind of thinking I need loot to finish off this game. It'd be nice if there was like an infinite loop with which I could make them deck themselves at this point. So they're blocking like this. I guess we just put a counter on top. How much is this? 10, 14, 16. Putting them to 9, and I have exactly 9 cards in my deck. Okay, they're dead. Great. Interesting one. Interesting one. Wait, did I do the math wrong? Did I do the math wrong? I still think they're dead, but I think I have to wait until I draw loot for that to happen, maybe? At the very least, they're just kind of dead to my shit, no? Well, that's awkward. Loot is in the last 3 cards of my deck, so if I mill over it right now... So I mill over it right now, but then I don't have any creatures left to activate it. Yeah, I think I kind of goofed on this one. I think I'm still gonna be fine, but I do have to let them untap, unfortunately. Discard this stuff. And then they have to like Ultima right now, but even then I don't think that necessarily wins it for them. They play a land. There was probably a way, like, I could have gleaned that I would eventually mill into the loot if I just went on the Dredger's Insight plan and start shooting them with the bolts. That plus the sacks from the Mechan probably gets me there. I'm not sure. I think we're doing okay though. But I'm sure if you were really in the tank on this deck and you had actual time to think about it, you could pull out the win on that turn. Deterministically, if I had to guess. But we're looking fine. Opponent rips, double consult the star charts. Just trying to dig for an Ultima at this point, I guess. But if they tap out, you and I both know I think they're just dead. Even if they Ultima this board. They're looking at my shit. Like, how did I lose to this? Yeah, I mean, the Toph kind of goes crazy. It kind of goes crazy. Works really nicely with the Restless Prairie for a little alpha strike before you have to sack your board. The Restless Prairie counted for, like, what? At least 10 damage, no? All right. If they're just going to spend the next minute looking at my shit, I'll just fast forward here in the edit. Lightning Helix on my Adventurers in. I'm going to deny them the life gain here. I'm just going to sack the Adventurers in to destroy their Authority of the Consuls here. Off the Insidious Fungus ability here. $49 health. I mean, Dredger's Insight, it really adds up. Rest in peace. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Especially if they're not dealing with my board, that doesn't matter. Is there anything I want out of my graveyard right now? with the Auroral Procession. I could just grab a Toph. And they scoop it up. Great. What are we even doing here? All right, on to the next one. Really, really good match. I think it's a great matchup. TBH, pretty hard for them to interact meaningfully, and then once we get enough mana, it's pretty hard for them to get their No More Lies through, which is a pretty critical element of their game plan. 1-0. On to the next one. On the play, match 2. Okay. Not a great hand, but not awful. Pretty slow. But we actually have the setup here. It's just a matter of hitting our land drops. Little Hired Claw action. Well, this should be a quick one. We'll see how we're able to fare against mono red here, presumably. Ooh, okay, Boros. That's maybe a little scarier, to be honest with you. We do have those Pyroclasms in the sideboard, but if this is like a Voice of Victory list, then speak of the devil. Not feeling too good about that. Let's go for the Dredger's Insight. Ooh, a little Adventurer's Inn is nice. Let's pick that up and play the Stomping Ground tapped. Try to keep our life total high here. Probably ripping the Lessons from Life next turn. Just trying to have a fast Goldfish with this plan. We don't really have any interaction in the main. So surviving as long as we can is kind of the name of the game. Until we're able to just try to combo off. Eventually just ripping the, oh no. Raphael the Night Watcher. Yuck! Attacking creatures you control have double strike. Well, I think that's GG. I think that's just GG. I don't have any answers for that. I guess I can do a block sack with the Fungus this turn. Maybe that's a little better than the Lessons from Life. Pass it back to you. Attacking creatures you control have double strike. Well, this is a matchup for the Day of Judgments from the sideboard. Maybe a little bit of a play draw difference here. If we had another turn, like if we were on the play, we maybe could have squeezed something out here. So this is 1,000,000 damage. I am dead. Okay, on to game 2. Bring in the Pyroclasms. It doesn't hit everything, but it hits the important stuff. Actually, doesn't hit the important stuff, but it hits some stuff. Let's go to 2 and then bring in the Seam Rips. Let's go down the Moltenders. Probably down the Funguses too. This is more of a game about, can we hit our early land drops, land a Day of Judgment, and then just have like better top end than them. Essentially, I don't think the tenders matter too much. Maybe we go like all in on the removal plan and just dump the early stuff here. We can go down a Toph. We can go down a Loot. They might bring in Rest in Peace, but I'm not that worried about that, to be honest with you. If we start like ripping our Mechans, I think that's how we win. So we just need to survive long enough to be able to do that. We don't really need the Cauldron setup, to be honest. I think this is okay. Maybe we go down an Auroral Procession as well. Try it like that. We have to keep a hand with at least 3 lands, I think. Okay. Actually, this is fine. We'll keep this. I like the double Day of Judgment. We don't have any white sources, but we have a turn 2 Insight into a turn 3 Lookout. If we hit an untapped land off the Insight. Another Day of Judgment. Well, we're gonna get there if we get double white. I have a feeling about that. There's single white. Grab the Temple Garden. Also an untapped land for the Lookout here. Cross our fingers. Inspiring Vantage. Voice of Victory. And there's double white. Never didn't have it, by the way. Never didn't have it. Pit of Offerings. Let's turn this into an Azorius, or sorry, a Simic land here. I'm gonna block the Hired Claw. See if they do anything about that. I have a feeling they're gonna bring in the Leonardo here. Raphael, rather. They're all the same. They're all the same. It is a huge chunk, and unfortunately I have to shock in this passage, but now begin the Day of Judgments. On the first day, we judged a Hired Claw, Voice of Victory, and Raphael. See what else we can nab here. See if they just try to dump their hand. Arabella. Lessons from Life. I think I just have to Day of Judgment this, no? Curious to know if they have that card that makes 2 1/1s. At instant speed. He couldn't possibly have a third Day of Judgment, is what they're thinking. Agatha Soul-Cauldron. Okay. I think I just get a Mechan on the field. Because it can block the Fountain Port tokens, and next turn I can just sack this for life gain. More cards, hit my land drops. It'll cost me some mana, but I think it makes a little more sense. Especially if they're not putting anything on the field. I don't really have to worry about Day of Judgmenting my own Mechan, probably. Curious to know what's in their hand, though. It could be like a Lightning Helix. They make a fish. Mountain. 6 mana available. 3 cards in hand. Could die to double Lightning Helix, but they would have ripped that by now. Sack the fish. Just rip it. Okay. Trying to get something on the field. Passes. Another Day of Judgment. Well, I'm going to start doing this. I think gaining the life is pretty important. Keep me out of double Lightning Helix range. Try to hit my land drops as well. No land drop. That is kind of crazy. Discard a Cauldron. Wow. Literally 7 lands in the top 20. Not super likely. Seam Rip for the Voice of Victory here. Play another Mechan, I guess. Or I could go for a Lessons from Life in this position, maybe. Try to hit my land drops. Am I likely dead to... They make a fish and have another Leonardo in hand. Maybe I'm dead to that in some capacity. Let's just play another Mechan to block the fish. Gain some more life. Get lost on a Seam Rip. Okay. Brings back the Voice of Victory. Wow, not hitting my land drop in that series of draws there, I think it really fucked me. Anna Pakal. Swinging in. Making some dudes. Do they have the double striking Leonardo? Raphael, rather. They're all the same. Sacks to Fountain Port. Okay. Stadium Headliner. Okay. Do I just have to Day of Judgment this board? Tapped Multiversal Passage. I kind of think so, right? Now I can sack the Mechan for 2. So I could just Mechan the Anipakal and Pyroclasm the Headliner. That'll put me to 9. And then they'll have a Voice of Victory. Am I dead to War Leader's Call at that point. It'll be an extra 8 damage plus Fountain Port. Sorry, yeah, 8 plus Fountain Port kills me. Damn, son. I really want the life gain. But maybe that's greedy. Maybe I just go for the Day of Judgment and set up the Cauldron here. I can start gaining life by exiling random shit. Alright. Alright. I've talked myself into it. Another Day of Judgment in hand. We don't die to Lightning Helix this way, or double Lightning Helix. Seam Rip. Gotta assume they're hitting the Cauldron here. Good thing we have a backup. Let's gain a life by exiling a Cauldron. Grindy ass deck. Grindy ass deck. Play a Lessons from Life. We're in it now. Bury my opponent in card advantage. Gain a life off the Blossoming Sands. I kind of assume these like couple of tapped life gain lands I have might add up over the course of some games. Like when my life total is really relevant, maybe a couple like chip pieces here and there in combination with the Dredger's Insight life gain could be enough to like keep us out of double Lightning Helix range, for example. Seems to be working. We're not that punished for having tapped lands anyway. We have a lot of things that just put lands into play tapped, right? Ooh, feeling like this is our window. Just exile some random bullshit. Keep gaining life. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. Or 8 lands. So our Mechan activation's only 2 mana now. So I think I'm going to Lessons from Life, try to hit another land, try to hit a creature, and kind of put the game out of reach that way. They get lost to the Dredger's Insight as their last card. Holy smokes. Steam Vents. Rip this. I don't have any man lands. Let's rip this. There's a Bossing Say, which does it. So we have a basic in place. We put the Adventures in tapped. Check this out. Put the game completely out of reach. Bossing Say. Activate it on the Adventurers Inn. So now every time we sacrifice the Adventurers Inn too, it will re-enter and gain us that much more life. I guess I just pass here. No need to throw this at their face quite yet. See if they draw a relevant creature or something. Like if they draw Raphael, I'd probably just shoot Raphael. I can also just start hitting them with the Adventurers in. I'm like way ahead now. I don't think there's anything they can do. And they scoop it up. They realize. Great. They read the cards. Okay. Game 3. See if we can win on the draw. I think we just run it back. Try to survive. Eventually land our combo. I would assume they're going to bring in Rest in Pieces now, but we'll see. All right. On the draw, but double Pyroclasm with the Seam Rip. No green mana. You keeping this? I don't think I can. They have too many 3 toughness creatures, and this is way better. And this is way better. Triple Day of Judgment. Tapped Sacred Foundry. Pass it to ya. Wouldn't mind drawing a Pyroclasm. Inspiring Vantage. Arabella. Okay. Pretty scary. Seam Rip may be my best draw. Ice Till. Yeah, play a Soul-Cauldron here. See if they spend any time interacting with this. The mana situation's a little awkward if I like... Oh, I'm like so dead. I'm so dead. Well, we fought through it on the draw. Or sorry, on the play, but what are we even supposed to do about this, you know? What are we even really supposed to do about this? Pyroclasm would be okay here, I guess. Okay. Well, match 2 in the books, 1-1. That's kind of the matchup that I would expect that we lose to generally. So don't feel too bad about that. Match 3 on the draw. Pretty good opener here. Good mix of lands and ramp. More dig. Love to see Dredger's Insight in the opener here. Gives us a lot of options. Watery Grave. Fleet on our Fungus. Draw into a Mechan. Not bad. Things are shaping up. Toff in the opener can be a little awkward if we don't have our graveyard set up with like an actual instant or sorcery to grab. Grim Bauble on the Fungus. Well, if this is Esper Pixie, they're going to have pretty few targets for their removal here, I feel like. Although, nowhere to run means they can kill my Survey Mechan, which is kind of annoying. Go for a Dredger's Insight. Okay, some targets for our Toff is nice. Let's just pick up the land drop here. We have a Mechan in hand, Mechan in the graveyard, kind of where we want to be. Probably just play a tapped Bivouac next turn, and then Toff turn 4. Kaito. Alright, well, maybe we're not winning this one. Turn 3 Kaito, huh? Pretty nice hand from our opponent. Answers my 1-drop. Pixie turn 2. Kaito on 3. That could be a problem. Maybe best draw is just another Dredger's Insight to try to outpace the damage that they're doing. Go for the Bivouac. We have turn 4 Bossing Say. Maybe I just rip this Lessons from Life now. Try to get into a fast Mechan. Super Shredder. Storm Soul. Okay. Let's go for the... ooh. They're just going to no-moralize this, aren't they? They have everything, dude. No, okay. I was dooming. I was dooming. Mutant Town. Not a town, unfortunately. In play. Pass it back. Big mana. Get our Cauldron online next turn. We can go Toff into Cauldron next turn. That would involve shocking ourselves, which is maybe not super ideal. I have to do the math on that one. But we're pretty close to the combo. Maybe I go Dredger's Insight into Cauldron here. Tapped land and start gaining some life. And then that way I can go Toff into something next turn. Whatever I end up hitting here. Yeah, let's pick up a creature. Gain a little life that way. Tender's actually a pretty good hit because it's something I can just play now. As well. Play a Cauldron. Play a Tender. Let's play the Lush Portico. Pass. 6 lands on the field. Prairie in the graveyard. Nowhere to run. Okay. That's fine. Not really anything we can do about that. Counter on the Super Shredder. The life gain is going to be a bit of a pain for them. They can scale the Shredder, but not really if I don't like play too many creatures for them to actually deal with. Permanents to pick, like, they're not going to scale this super quickly as if compared to if I had compared to if I had like Llanowar Elves on the field, for example, for them to like manage with their baubles, then this would grow pretty fast. Storm Chaser's Talent, Boomerang Basics on the Talent, growing the Shredder. Out of Survey Mechan range, but we're kind of living, maybe. 4/4, bit of a problem. Take a hit. Down to 5, but going up to 7. Maybe I go Toph into Storm Soul next turn. I don't really want to shock in these lands at this point. Maybe I shock in a Mechan. But what does that really do for me? I could... Shock the Mechan and then shoot them in the face to gain 3. But then... And I can gain another 2 off the Cauldron, so I'll be at 12, but then they hit me for 1,000,000. So I think I have to, like, play Toph, pick up the Auroral Procession for an extra creature to pull out of my graveyard. I kind of think that's the move, no? Earthbend something, and then I maybe live for another turn because they have to, like, tap my Toph. Pass. So this represents an extra 4 life. But I'm probably just dead to the board. They only have 4 mana, though. Grim Bauble. On the Toph. Grim Bauble. Exile a creature here. Guess we go for the Mechan. We're going to want that exiled eventually anyway. And then they go Pixie Bauble, kill off my Toph, and hit me for 1,000,000 damage. Yeah. Okay, I think we can win this one. We'll bring in the Seam Rips for the Super Shredders to be able to manage those. Otherwise, I think we have a pretty good shot. RIP Toph. Oh, I was supposed to... I mean, I'm going to die anyway, right? Yeah, 14. Okay. All right, on to game 2. What do we cut? Probably just the Tenders. It's too good of a target for their interaction. Bring in a couple Pyroclasms, maybe. Actually, let's bring in all the Pyroclasms. That's kind of the way we die eventually, right? We can manage the Shredders with Seam Rips, and then if they just have a board of Otters, for example, Otters and Pixies, maybe I just die to that if I don't bring in the Pyroclasms. I like the sound of that. Let's go down. No, I think I like the one of Procession here. We could probably cut the loot. Cut a Fungus. A little Small Potatoes here, maybe. Try it like this. On the play. Okay, great hand. No real action. A lot of answers, but a good amount of lands for us. And I like that we have the early Seam Rip, early Pyroclasm. Can't complain about that too much. Best draw in this position, probably just like a Lessons from Life. Ice Till, Mechan, I don't know. Lessons from Life probably just the best here. I think I'm going to leave this Siren in play. Actually, pretty happy with the Dredger's Insight draw. Let's go for that. I think I want to just grab the Toph here. Because then I can, like, Pyroclasm and then pick it back up with Toph if I want to. Rest in peace, RIP. Not the end of the world. Gain a life. We don't just lose to Rest in Peace. Adventurers in. Play a tapped Foundry. Play a Cauldron. Pass it to you. I might want to think about Seam Ripping the Rest in Peace before playing the Pyroclasm, just to be able to pick it back up with Toph if I want. Super Shredder. Looking super shredded. Wow. Cracks the map on the Siren, so they're gonna get ranched by this Pyroclasm. I can't Seam Rip the Rest in Peace first, though, because it'll grow the Shredder, unfortunately. So the Pyroclasm, RIP in peace, but that's okay. That's okay. Seam Rip the Rip. Play a Steam Vents tapped and pass. We're chilling. Momentum Breaker. Do I just discard the Toph? Not really doing anything now, right? Is that crazy? I'd rather just hit my land drops, no? Okay. Pass it back to you. Pixie. No, don't. Alright, well this is a bit of a problem. Probably now the best draw is just an Ice Tail Explorer, and then we go into top deck mode. No, don't. I mean, I'd take a Pyroclasm too, though. Clifftop Lookout, sure. Pretty relevant, actually, having reach and we can put a counter on it. I'm gonna go for the counter now. I don't think this super matters, but opting to do it now. I guess it plays around Tishana's Tidebinder. Nurturing Pixie. Alright, they got the Pixies. We're in top deck mode now, officially. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Mechan is a good top deck. Map on the Pixie. Watery Grave. Okay. Another Cauldron. Not a great top deck. Let's hit him for 3. I guess I can hit him for 4. Crack back. We're kind of winning the race, no? I think so. Not if they have a Kaito. Not if they have a Kaito. Alright, well these have been some interesting matches. Pretty unfavored, I think, in that Boros aggro matchup. I feel like we should have a shot here. It's just a matter of like we're kind of in top deck mode so suddenly. I don't really know how we got here this quickly, but if we draw a Pyroclasm, we're looking good. If we draw Lessons from Life, we're looking good. You know, it's just kind of down to the fate of the cards at this point, right? Do I want to shock in the passage? I think I almost certainly want to play the Lookout here. I'm going to hold on to the Seam Rip. I can start threatening Kaito with my man lands next turn. No creatures in the graveyard. They shock themselves. Pick up the Fear of Ice, or sorry, pick up the Momentum Breaker. Okay. Well, if we top deck a Mechan, we're still in this, I think. That's pretty much the position we're in. Hits me with everything. Kaito. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lands. I can Seam Rip the Fear of Isolation and swing at the Kaito. That might get through. Back to me. Might as well exile something from their graveyard. Nice to have a main deck answer to the Storm Chaser's talent also. Storm Soul. Okay. Go for the Seam Rip on the Fear of Isolation. I think I can fire up the Prairie and play the Storm Soul. 1, 2, 3, and then enough to do that. Yep, looks like this. See if they have a Tidebinder. Little rat bastard. Little rat bastard. Okay. Play a Storm Soul. It's probably not going to be enough. Go for a counter now to play around another Tidebinder, but they just tap this. They hit me for a million, and I'm dead. Damn. Okay, 1 and 2. Fun list. Looked pretty good into control. Once again, I don't know. Maybe it's just the fact that they have so many efficient, cheap creatures. Like, it boils down to they can essentially play an aggro game plan, which we are not super duper well equipped to handle. Especially with Kaito in the mix. Like, Day of Judgment is not that good. If we start doing our busted stuff, like if they don't have a very fast start, I think we look pretty good, especially if we can chain together our card advantage pieces. I thought the early Pyroclasm was going to set us up for pretty good success, but we didn't really have any, like, super big rips. Never saw our Ice Till. I know we only have 2 of them, but maybe you could consider going up to 3. Anyway, let me know what you think. Like I said, I went 4 and 1 with this in a traditional standard event. 1 and 2 on video today, but got to show it off in the first match, so don't feel too bad about that. Appreciate you stopping by. Appreciate you watching. If you like this content, I'll be posting standard content every day, exploring off-meta stuff. If you're not in the Discord yet, feel free to join the Discord. Check out my channel description for info on that, for a link. Fun stuff happening in there. You can, like, shoot me deck lists. It's a pretty good way to get in touch with me. If you want to pick my brain for something, pretty open to that. Also, F&M reports are a fun little side space to talk about paper magic and, like, your brewing experience in IRL and in paper and whatnot. So feel free to do that. Appreciate you watching. Hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye bye.